Hi everybody! Today we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions from whole numbers that are greater than 1. So we will be using a couple different strategies today: the number line, tape diagrams, and number bonds. So as you go through your homework or other problems, whatever you're working on, you might find that one of the strategies or a couple of the strategies are kind of hard for you and one stands out as being a little easy. That's perfect. Everybody has their own strategy that works for them, and so the purpose of doing homework assignments and other problems in class is to practice and find the strategy that works for you. But you won't know unless you try. So as you go through the video, pause, rewind, double check, take your time, work your way through it, and don't give up. The best thing about math is if one strategy doesn't work, try a different one. So as you go through a problem, if the number line is hard for you, do your best with a number line. And then on a separate piece of paper, check your work with a strategy that works for you so that you can get the correct answer and still have the strategy on the paper that the directions have asked for. Sounds good? Let's get started. Today we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions from a whole number. Let's start by reading the directions and doing our cubes. Draw a tape diagram to match each number sentence. Then complete the number sentence. So our two action words are draw and complete. And the thing we have to draw is a tape diagram to match the sentence. So I need to draw a tape that'll show 2 wholes plus 1/4. So I'm working in fourths. So there's 1 whole, 2 wholes, and I need to add on an extra 1/4. So let's show this by shading. Here's 1 whole, 2 wholes, and then just an extra 1/4. So when I have 2 plus 1/4, I end up with 2 and 1/4. Again, let's start with the directions. Solve using a number bond. Draw a number line to represent each number sentence. So our two action words are solve and draw, and we first have to solve using a number bond. So I'm going to take my whole number 8 and split it up. So it's like borrowing. I need to make a fraction to subtract this 5/6 from. So I'm going to pull out a whole from 8, which would leave me with 7. 8 minus 1 whole is 7. And I'm going to write that 1 whole that I took out as a fraction. Our denominator in this problem is 6. So I need to make 1 whole in 6. So it would be 6/6. So I just borrowed a 1 from the 8, made it a fraction, and what I have left over after I take 1 away from 8 is 7. So right now I have 7 and 6/6 minus 5/6. Now there is no whole number with this 5/6. So 7 minus 0 is 7. And then if I subtract the fractions, 6/6 minus 5/6 is 1/6. Now they also wanted me to draw a number line. So I'm going to set up a number line. I use a lot of white space, as much white space as I can without using any other problem space, just so that I can keep my work nice and neat. And now I want to think about what whole numbers I need to use. I'm not going to start with 0 because we don't need to use the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or even 6. So I'm going to start my number line out with 7 and end it with 8. I'm only going to use the whole numbers that I need. Now, just like we've practiced before, if I'm working in 6, I need 6 equal spaces between my whole number, so I will draw 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's label. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. Whoops, 6. So now let's start. We're starting at 8, so I'm going to put a point right on 8. I am subtracting 5/6, so I'm going to bump back 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I landed on 7 and 1/6, just like we were able to do with our number bond. While the number lines and number lines and tape diagrams help us have a visual of where our numbers are coming from and where they are in relation to each other, once we understand that, we don't have to use those. So sometimes they will just ask us to use number bonds, like this problem. It says, complete the subtraction sentences using number bonds. So just like we did in the previous problem, I'm going to pull apart my whole number. So our problem says 5 minus 5/6. So I'm going to borrow from the whole number to make a whole number and a fraction. Our denominator is still 6, so my fraction has to be 6/6. And if I look, 4 plus 1 whole, or 6/6, equals 5. So now I have 4 and 6/6 and 5/6. There is no whole number with this 5/6, so 4 minus 0 is 4. And if I go to subtract the fractions, 6/6 minus 5/6 is 1/6.